back. Dean and Ann, we watched an episode of...
Episode 7 of Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. We're going to review it right now. Talk about what we saw on the episode.
Yes. It was a somber... Yes. I was going to say it was somber, but it did open, Oh, it
was very positive
optimistic.
At the beginning. Yeah. Because they just came off the win against the Cowboys. And in fact, they highlighted that they kicked 5 field goals of Jason Sanders. They showed him at home with his wife. Yeah.
Yeah, making pizza.
Homemade pizza. Yeah.
Yes.
Looking good.
Yeah, it was looking really good. I was impressed.
But they made a pretty big deal out of the five field goals. And, to his credit, that's a great stat. And they had a huge sign of him on the back of the doors for the elevators at the practice facility, with him counting off the numbers of field goals. Yeah,
that's great.
It was cool.
Yeah, and did you already mention he got Player of the Week?
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah,
okay. I blacked out for a second.
I didn't mention that. But yes, he did get it. Yes,
I was like, oh, you did. Okay, I didn't hear you say it.
Nope.
Yes. After that, we go into preparing for the game and watching footage of Lamar Jackson for the Ravens.
Yeah, they're preparing for Lamar Jackson more than anything.
Yes.
Yeah, and rightfully so. He's
a beast. He's
a dominant player, excellent quarterback, and he's the leading rusher for their team, which is not normal for a quarterback.
Yeah, but it was pretty awesome to watch. I mean, it was pretty cool to watch him, all the footage of him.
Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, says you have to prepare every time. You have to prepare for 2 plays: the one that you think they're going to run, and then the one that he makes up on the spot during the play, which is it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And they work so hard at it that Mike McDaniels, he volunteered to be the stand-in for Lamar Jackson as their scout team quarterback.
But they didn't take him.
No, they didn't accept him as the possible.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Sam McDaniel, he has a sense of humor. I mean, I assumed he was making a joke.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he wasn't he didn't actually offer.
No, nobody's fast as nobody could do that.
Yeah.
In fact, the guy that they got, I forget which quarterback, it was one of the backup quarterbacks, but it's like they all just said he's not fast enough to play this, to do this part, and no one is. Who's gonna be able to practice like that?
We did get to see a little footage of Tyreek Hill, right, in high school.
Oh yeah,
he was fast, and that was crazy. Just watching him whoosh, down the field.
Well, he started one way, went across the field, and then came back around and went all the way down. It was incredible. Yeah, high school football.
But as our narrator Lee Schreiber points out, it's not high school anymore.
This is not high school. Yeah. Lots of injuries.
Yes, that was my next point.
Yeah.
Yes. 7 starters.
Were potentially not going to start for the next game. Yeah. They showed the training room where everybody's getting wrapped up, and there's just like an assembly line, guys coming in, sit down next, and they wrap up the next guy. It's amazing what they do.
Yeah, it is. It's impressive. A lot of people make the team.
But one person came back from injury, and that was Holland. Yeah.
Safety?
Yep. Corner.
Yes.
Yeah. Or no, You're right, safety. I forget which position. He's in the secondary, so yeah. Long and lean and got to run fast and catch knockdown balls and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yes, he got injured at the Jets game. He was the one who landed froggy style?
Yeah.
Was that him?
He landed, they came down on him froggy style, frog position, and it just
froggy style
messed up both of his ankles or something.
Oh, yeah.
But
they showed footage. It was awful.
He also got the 99-yard pick 6 in that game. So,
yes.
I don't know if it's worth it, but it's still pretty cool. Okay.
Then we went into a dinner. There was a safety dinner. They were just talking. It seemed like all the...
Yeah, the guys in the secondary defense, they were talking about their coach, Vic Fangio. Yeah.
I actually didn't catch what they're talking about. I was looking at all the food that they were eating and thinking, how many calories do they have to eat in a day to maintain and sustain themselves?
Oh, my God.
And I can only imagine how much they're eating.
Yeah, I mean,
and everything looked really good.
Yeah,
they had pasta
amazing.
at one point.
Yeah.
It looked like some meat and veggies.
It kind of looked like the pasta we had this week, too.
I did. I know. I was like, oh, hey.
It looks very familiar.
Great minds think alike.
Mike McDaniel at practice. Okay, I want to talk about this episode versus the previous episode. They were preparing for the Cowboys in the previous episode, and he was all kinds of intense. Now, I don't know if this is just the editing that they do for these episodes, but the previous week he was very intense, and he was coming at people, and he was giving them a hard time, and he was trying to push their buttons to get them to compete.
That's right.
Compete. He kept saying that we're competing. And this week, he was just having fun. He was making jokes. He was running around doing crazy stuff and having fun. And maybe, I don't know if that was I don't know if this is just the editing that they're doing, or if this is a technique that he's like, I'm going to change it up every week. They're not going to know what to expect.
Could be. I
wonder if he wasn't intense enough during this practice.
Maybe. You bring up a good point. I'd totally forgotten his behavior at the last game. At the last practice.
The last practice.
Yeah, editing is where all the magic happens. They can tell any story with editing.
Yeah, because they're out there for hours.
Yeah.
And days.
I can only imagine how much footage they get. Yeah.
So much. And it's just their choice to decide what are we showing this week versus... But are they showing an actual, true, honest picture of what he was doing? Or is it just these are the funniest moments or these are the most intense moments? They don't... I don't know.
Yeah. I would love America's Funniest Videos, but with NFL moments.
Blooper reel?
Yeah. Sorry.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Something else at the practice that I really enjoyed was our QB wearing a GoPro.
Yeah, the helmet cam.
Yes, and that was really cool to watch.
It was incredible. Yes. Because you think you know what it's like. And holy shit, it's so fast, and there's so many guys coming and getting pushed, and this guy's not getting through, but this guy is, and you got to move this way it's incredible.
It really was.
And it's so confusing because at practice, everybody's wearing the same shit.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the guys are wearing,
red jerseys
Dickies or whatever they call them, yeah. And some of the other players are wearing different, but then there's people on the sidelines that are on the field, and it's like, wow, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So, impressive. Helmet cam. There should be a channel just for helmet cam.
I do think, that'd be cool. I mean, that was the first time I think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Out of all the Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a cool technique that they use it to practice.
Yeah.
And that brings us to game day.
The game.
What I have. Yes.
We go to Baltimore.
They fought. I felt like there was a fighting spirit.
Yeah, I mean, they had the right attitude, I think. But here's the thing that I wanted to bring up about this Jason Sanders kicking 5 field goals in the previous game, is that they only won that game against Cowboys by 2 points. And I'm like, okay, then there's a problem with not scoring touchdowns. And we went back and we looked at it, and they only scored 1 touchdown in the Cowboys game. Which I know it's hard. It's hard to get down the field and so you can get into field goal range, but field goals are not going to win games, especially against guys like Lamar Jackson. And so I think that there was just something interesting in that we had such a big thing at the beginning of the episode about, we scored 5 field goals. Well, you should have scored 3 touchdowns instead, or 4, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they scored, they went down in this game, the Baltimore game. The first drive was a touchdown. Baltimore answered with a touchdown. Second drive, field goal. Baltimore answered with a touchdown. Baltimore's getting touchdowns, and they just kept doing it all day. And, Dolphins just weren't doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And then my last note was the horrible injury for Chubb.
Yeah, ACL.
Yes.
Out for the rest of the...
Yeah, he seemed to be it was a pretty horrible pain.
Yeah. Well, when I watched it. You were watching it with me, I think. The game. He was screaming, and they normally don't. They don't normally let you hear that. They normally cut that stuff out pretty quick. Yeah. But it went on for quite a while in the game, and I'm like, oh my god, he's in real pain. So, anyways, and they had to go home. And
then the episode ended. There was no
post-credit
montage,
thing at the end. Yeah. So we'll see. Still hopeful for the Bills game coming up. Yeah. That's the big Sunday night football game.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode and you enjoy hearing us talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope you put your comments below on what you thought of the episode. And is it just the magic of editing that makes us think this, or is it very realistic to what practice is like?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what coach
Yeah.
is like. Yeah. And be sure to hit the like and subscribe button.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you next week.